There's an old adage in the mining business: a mine is made, it's not found. Hi, George Sanders, President, Goldcliff Resource Corporation, and we're very encouraged, indeed excited, to receive and report today results from the testing of Panorama Ridge Gold mineralization with a non-cyanide based gold recovery process. We are recording this video in conjunction with the news release that went out this morning discussing the details of our findings from the testing of Panorama Ridge Gold mineralization with the CLEVR process of Dundee Sustainable Technologies. That news release will be available on any quotation service and indeed on our website, so I encourage you to check it out. What we'd like to do is just give you a little bit of context as to why we did this, the direction it points us forward, and a little bit of context to all of that. So I open by saying mines are made, they're not found, and that's a very old school adage, and it reflects the fact that from the very get-go, the property owner, the claim staker, the prospector, the promoter, the grub stakers, and or the investors were keenly interested, even while the property was only a showing, in how they could get to cash flow and return of capital to the shareholders by way of dividend. So it was a mentality of not endless rounds of exploration and endless rounds of drilling, but creative ways of looking at how do we get on the ore and get it out of the ground and turn it into cash as quickly as possible. We embrace that idea within the constraints of modern exploration from both a technical and regulatory point of view. So, rather than reiterate the news release, we'll give you a couple of key takeaways that kind of explain what I just said. So, the first takeaway is, should there be sufficient mineralization at Panorama Ridge that warrants extraction, in the southern Similkameen, there's likely the possibility of no tailings pond and no use of cyanide. The second takeaway is, had we simply wanted to test gold recovery, we would have gone to a conventional metallurgical service provider, metallurgical engineering firm, and they would have run a battery of tests on various gold processing techniques. Our purpose here was not to determine Panorama Ridge % gold recoveries or to enhance previously known gold recoveries. Rather, our intention here was very simply to see if a non-cyanide method, in this case the CLEVR method from Dundee Sustainable Technologies, would work on Panorama Ridge mineralization. And the answer is a resounding yes, from the point of view of an initial test, which was very, very encouraging. First test, no tweaking, no optimization, resulted in an 88% gold recovery. So we're highly enthusiastic about that, and we're very encouraged to continue the work with Dundee to developing a cyanide-free and tailings pond-free processing possibility for Panorama Ridge. Third takeaway is really gold price. So as I record this afternoon, the price of a gram of gold is 187 Canadian dollars. So you can all do the arithmetic. What does that make a quarter gram, a half gram, a gram and a half worth? I mention that because this is an asset within Goldcliff that has sat on the shelf for a number of years. most of the work drilling on this asset was done in a sub $1,000 an ounce gold environment. And the company concluded, I think rightly so at the time, that the grades and the tonnage with those grades was just insufficient to really be likely a going concern, and so we shelved it. At today's gold prices, it's definitely worth looking at again. And now, with the addition of a non-conventional processing technology that could lead to an operation that doesn't have a tailings pond or use cyanide, we think that that really potentially unlocks the value of this asset, and we're excited to get moving along with that. The fourth takeaway is community involvement / permitting. So one of the big objections, pretty well across the world, but certainly in North America, and it's part of all of the anti-mining and anti-resource extraction rhetoric, is the danger of tailings ponds. And so we are embracing the idea that the future of mining in Canada, particularly in British Columbia, is only going to be enhanced when mine developers and mine operators embrace new technologies. And as such, that's why we embarked on the initial testing of our material with Dundee, and we're very encouraged that this has given us a very bright green light to proceed and to really explore all the options of economically processing mineralization should there be a sufficient amount discovered, and bringing all the stakeholders on side. So I can imagine sitting down with community members, sitting down with band council and or the chief of First Nations, and walking them through a process that doesn't include tailings pond, that doesn't have effluent, that doesn't have acid mine drainage, and that is a smaller footprint. We think if that can be properly demonstrated, that some of the conventional objections to mine development and production will kind of disappear, and we look forward to forging those partnerships and relationships. So, very encouraging news, very early days. We're not suggesting that this is a final recovery number or even that this might be the ultimate processing flow sheet. All we're saying is that initial tests have given us a really good green light, and that encouraged us to take a new look at this asset, which is the most advanced asset in the company's portfolio. Over 16,000 meters of drilling were conducted on this project. So we're enthusiastic about that and look forward to getting after it in the new year. We will have an update on both Ainsworth and Kettle Valley coming to you early in the new year. So as I usually say, stay tuned.